Welcome, everyone, to another episode of In the Eye of the Hurricane, presented by Coastline Contractors. I'm your host, Chad Choate, joined by the head football coach of the Manatee Hurricanes, Jacquez Green. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you for having me on.
And out there in the audio world, we'll be doing this every week. This is our first podcast for the beginning of the season. And, Coach, it seems like we were just here almost yesterday with the season ending. Unfortunately, not the way we wanted it to end, but a good season nonetheless. 8-2, finished in the second round, lost to Riverview, very close game. Probably could have gone. Go back and look at the game many different ways. But all in all, a successful season, working up to what we ultimately want to be: district champs, state champs. Tell me a little bit before we get into this year and off season, things like that. Just as you had a chance to go back and look at last year and think about last year, what are some things you came away with?
We're making positive strides in the right direction as a program. I think we're getting better and better as a team, and coaching staff is getting more and more continuity. As long as I can keep the same coaches together. I think the more times you have the same coaching staff together, the better the football team is going to be overall. Thought we had a solid season last year, good season. I think we'll probably be even better this year. So hopefully we continue ascending as a program and contend for state championships on the regular.
So before we get into the season and the outlook and talking to some of the players, let's first talk a little bit about the offseason and how did that look when we leave you, you get into spring football towards the end of the school year, and then you run your summer conditioning and weightlifting and that sort of thing. How did spring, as you look back and assess, how did spring go and how did the summer program go?
Spring and summer is going very well. As you realize now, the football season is basically year round. I try to give our guys more time off than the usual coaches to regenerate their bodies and their minds and get back into it. But it's a year-long process right now. We had great participation in the spring and the summer camp. We got over 135, 140 kids in the program right now. So we got good numbers, a lot of excitement, good attendance, which is a big thing. A lot of people have summer programs or spring programs, but they don't have great attendance. Kids attend very sporadically. So we had great attendance in the summer and the spring. So I guess the kids are excited about the program also.
When what does the summer program look like for folks out there that aren't a part of it and don't really know? What did the summer program entail?
It's a chance to get stronger and faster for football. It's a chance to learn more football without all the distractions that you have during the school season. You have a lot of distractions during the school season as far as classes and things going on with the school and limited amount of times in the day to play football. So it's a chance to get away and get the kids fresh first thing in the morning to workouts. It's a chance to be able to experiment and see what different guys on your team can do. Can certain guys help you in other positions? Just always fun as a coach when you can just do only football and not have to worry about all the other distractions that comes along with football.
So let's talk a little about, you mentioned it earlier, the continuity, staff coming back, and it's been now, this is year 2 or 3 with almost all these guys almost. And what does that do for two reasons? One, for you as a head coach, trusting and knowing what all the other coaches are doing, what they're capable of, but also from a player standpoint, right? Like they're used to, this is my coach, and it's not a revolving door. And when you do look at some of the programs that have been successful year in, year out, that's a big key, is keeping the staff together.
It always good because the kids understand the different coaches on the staff. They understand the expectations. The assistant coaches understand my expectations. The practices run smoother, more crisp because all the coaches know what the practice schedule is like and which each period entails. So everything just moves a lot smoother when you have a staff that's been together for a while. And the kids always want somebody they know that are going to show up each and every day, going to give them the same energy that they bring that they give the coaches. So it's always good to have continuity, guys who've been around, guys that you can trust and understand you and you understand those guys.
So let's talk a little bit about this coming year's football team. From an offensive standpoint, losing some production, especially at the wide receiver standpoint, with Bond Bean leaving. 62 catches, over 1,000 yards last year. Corey Sanders at running back leaving, although he was kind of hurt most of the year, didn't really have him all that much. Pinder being gone as well. How do you replace those guys, and who do you now look to, hey, you're the senior, I'm going to guess one of them, but you're the senior, you're going to be the leader, you're the one that we're going to kind of get behind and go?
Well, out of 12 or 13 guys that touched the ball last year, like 10 of them back. So we got a lot of guys that have touched the football on our team. All the receivers are back except BJ, as you alluded to earlier. We got 2 or 3 backs that can run the football that are back. Still fast at all the skill position at places. The thing that BJ became accustomed to was just making big plays in big games. So it's still to be seen in the game who can step up and do that in the game. We got some guys I think capable of doing it, but capable of doing it and actually getting out in the game on Friday nights and making those big plays and those opportunities present themselves, it's a whole different story. So I think Torrey Gilly, A.J. Causey, Ramsey Cole, so that's 3 right there that I know capable of making those type of plays.
Someone I'm really excited to see and got some playing time last year and had a couple of touchdown catches, I believe, is Farrakhan Shannon. I think that when I come out to practice and he's a tall tight end receiver, but can move really well for his size, and just a threat that the receivers that we listed, Causey's a good size, Gilly, Ramsey's a little bit smaller, but really a speed guy. But Farrakhan adds that height and size that we really don't have, and I can't remember when we've had a big target like that. And what does that give Andrew, obviously the returning quarterback, what does that give Andrew, especially maybe red zone and maybe dumping it across the middle and plays aren't there, and maybe a check down receiver that I haven't seen in a long time that size?
Well, Farrakhan, right before the season ended last 3 or 4 games, we started using him a lot. He's exploiting the matchups with the linebackers. Most of them can't run with him. On play action passes, he get on the safeties real fast. So he's a threat in the inside. He runs a 50 in the 400 meters, so he has legit outside receiver speed at tight end. But he's a 6'5" target, so it's hard to miss him. It's great energy. But he's a good complement to the other tall guys we got. Like AJ is 6'3" also, I think, and AJ is 6'3", and Torrey has a good body. Torrey's about 6'1", so we have a good different size receiving core, and that's what you want. You want smaller, fast guys. You want some big guys. You want some long guys, and I think we have a good combination of different body types in the receiver core. We're expecting big things out of Farrakhan, though. I think he can have a big season for us.
I'm excited, obviously, Keyshawn back, who, Keyshawn Smith is an explosive running back and really could probably play a lot of different positions, no question, which a lot of our guys can and will probably. But, really, really cool to see his little brother, too, right? Like, here comes Keith. He's a freshman. He got to play in the spring game, did pretty well in the spring game, and now he's going to be a sophomore. Pretty neat to see a brother tandem back there, and really excited what they could do.
It is a neat tandem. Keith is a good running back. You can tell he grew up in the house with some older guys, older brothers. Keyshawn is back more healthy than he was last year. We have a full-time trainer on staff now, so I think that'll help with our backs and some of our skill guys to keep them on the field from those soft tissue injuries. So Keyshawn is a guy who, Keith, his younger brother, is a kid that just has it. He can see the field well, has great vision. Just have to continue getting stronger and faster. But the best one in the house right now is probably Kavion. He's taken off as a football player this past year, and he's turned to a leader on defense. He can really strike people. He's strong. He's fast. So all 3 brothers will really help our football team this year.
I want to get to defense. Before I get to defense, let's talk about Andrew Heidel, right? Obviously, senior quarterback coming back. Had a great year last year. 2,600 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 65% completion rate. Committed to Army. So future is set for him. Only thing really left to do is win a state championship, right? So for a guy like that, we've talked about the skilled kids around him. Offensive line is going to be younger, but I think some good big bodies. But at quarterback, it can be a difference maker in the game, especially at the high school level. What does it mean to have a quarterback that's played this system, did really well last year, and what are our expectations of Andrew this year?
It helps out that Andrew's an experienced guy. He's played a lot of football since he's been here. He knows the system. He's a guy that can drop back and throw the football, but he's also a guy that can buy time and extend plays in the pocket. He throws a good ball. He's a smart kid. He's a tough kid. him being so tough, sometimes I have to reel him back in and say, like, we the best. You the best we got. So I need you. I need you all the snaps. So he's a good guy, and he leads by example. He's here. One of the first guys here all the time. He works extremely hard on practice. Not only practice, he works extremely hard in the off season, in the weight room, and in the conditioning on the field. And the guys see that and they gravitate towards him as a leader.
He's got a new haircut, so looks a little bit different, right? Took a little bit off the top, but with him committing to Army, I think he's deceivingly more athletic than what you may see initially from him as a gunslinger type. Mm-hmm. I think he can move and run better than we've seen. Is that, and not that we haven't seen him because he hasn't been able to do it? Is that something that you're going to look at and potentially say, hey, maybe we do use his feet a little more?
Well, we use his feet if he decides to make some guys miss in the pocket and extend plays on the outside. Every blue moon we'll try to run him, but most of the time I tag RPOs onto it. So if they try to tackle Andrew, he can throw it out on the perimeter. So I think our best thing is to keep Andrew healthy for the full season if we want to win a state championship game.
Talk a little about the defensive side, and obviously a lot of guys lost over on that side, 8-9 guys over on the other side, and some big names of Robinson and Tez and Duron Gene and CJ and Yahir Diaz and Max Freeman, Jerron Hill, a lot of guys who were big production defensive guys for us. Obviously left is from last year's team at least is Ian Johnson-Kelly and Alvoy Keenan. But talk a little bit about the guys leaving. Who do we have replacing coming up? And what kind of role do we expect from Ian Johnson-Kelly and Alvoy Keenan, two guys who've been here now? This is going to be their senior year. They've been in this program, been playing varsity basically, all years they were here. What do we expect from them?
Alvoy and Ian sets the tone defensively. We go as how they play most of the time. We'll get a chance this year to move the guys around a lot more and not just make Ian set the edge. So he'll be a lot more active in inside, lining up on guards, lining up in 4-out inside tackles. We have Caleb Mallow, Ronan Dangler, Kavion Smith, and KJ Williams at linebacker. They all have terrific size. Jason Smith Jr. They all have terrific size. They all can really strike you, and they all guys that is experienced on plays a lot of football. I think the front seven will probably be our strength of probably the whole team. They'll be real good in the front seven. We did lose some more experience in the secondary, and we lost some guys that were real smart football players back there more than anything. You want great athletes and great speed or what have you in the back end, but those guys knew how to put themselves in a position to make plays. They knew how to line the secondary up. They knew how to make checks in the back end. So probably some growing pains back there early on, but we have some talented kids with even more length than we had the previous year on the back end.
Yeah, you talk about two that really stick out to me, Duron Gene and Christian Johnson, CJ. When the ball was in the air, those two guys knew how to make plays on the ball.
Yeah.
And we may have that coming up. I know Jock Harris is one that's back there, and some other folks, some other guys, and just young and experienced. That's all it is. I think we're just as talented. And I do think coming out seeing some of the practices, I think defensive team speed is a little bit more dialed up than it was last year. You got some guys all over the place, Caleb Battleout being one of those. So super excited on the defensive side to see what we can do and force turnovers, hopefully, and get the offense in the best field position as possible. Let's talk a little bit about transition to just the schedule. Pretty tough schedule. And, what is before we actually get into it, what was your philosophy on building the schedule the way you did?
First I look at who we play in the district. Once we get through with the district schedule, I try to play the toughest teams that we can play, along with playing most of the traditional rivalries in the area, if they want to play us. We want to play just about every traditional rivalry around this area. And I want to give my guys the best high school experience they can have. And I think the best high school experience is when you play some of the best teams in the state or some of the best teams in your area. After we got through, with the district games, it was more so I wanted to take them to South Georgia and play one of those teams so they can experience South Georgia football. And also, when you win a lot of games, not a lot of people are lining up to play you. So, at the end of the day, you have to end up playing some of the, better 10, 11 win teams from the previous year. And so we agreed with a game with Buchholz. Buchholz has been one of the better teams in the state the last 2 or 3 seasons. They're getting a lot of great kids from the Gainesville area that's playing at Buchholz now. So it should be an interesting game, a very good game up in Gainesville also.
Yeah, well, no, obviously district changes a little bit. Pinellas Park, us, and Braden River in the district, so you're going to play Pinellas Park, Braden River. Of course, we got Southeast, and of course we got Palmetto, and Riverview, another area team, but the two that be very interesting, Lowndes, going up to Valdosta, and Buchholz, especially back to back, two tough games back to back. But you know what I like about it? That's what playoffs will be like come second, third round, fourth round, right? It's going to be back-to-back tough teams. And it's good to in the beginning of that season to see where you're at, right? I think it's going to be a very good barometer for us to say, hey, what do we do when we have to travel far? Because, you may be making a trip in the playoffs to the other coast and down south, et cetera. And so how do we travel and how do we play back-to-back really good tough teams?
Yeah, it's big, to be able to travel. A lot of our kids are so accustomed to just playing these teams right around here that they really don't have to go outside the area much to travel. That'll be huge for our kids to experience that early in the year. So in case we have to do that again late in the year in the playoffs, they'll have experience traveling and they'll understand our expectations when we travel. And also just playing good, experienced teams. Like those teams are experienced. They've been good for a while now, so it'd be good for us to match your wits with those guys and see where we're at as a program.
Yeah, the Gainesville Buchholz went to the state championship last year and lost, I believe. Lost some of their top guys, but we're still bringing back
They lost
a lot
to
of people.
Lakeland last year in the semifinals and lost to Venice the year before in the semifinals.
That's right.
So they've been there. And both games were good, close games.
Yeah, a very good program. It'll be a great atmosphere getting up there. But, I've coached in Lowndes at the Concrete Palace, and it's a different animal. It's a different type of environment. We don't get, our stadium is not small by any means, but the way that stadium is set up in the concrete, and it's just surrounded. When you go on the field, you're surrounded by the stadium. It's a different feel, and Lowndes is a place with a lot of pride, a lot of tradition.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything that it was Georgia. It's almost like coming home for you a little bit, right?
Yeah. One thing about growing up in Georgia and playing high school football in Georgia, you get this Friday night atmosphere that really can't be matched. A lot of times you're the only show going on in town. Everybody in the whole community is at the game, and then you still get that in South Georgia. So I wanted my guys to be able to experience that. Going to Valdosta, basically it's a school that they've seen a million times. They always tell me, Coach,
they just don't know that
the school you ride by when you're coming in Georgia. I say, yeah, that's the school right there. So it's big time. When I coached at Valdosta, we played over at Lowndes one night, and it was rocking, it was loud, and so it's just one of those places I want the guys to be able to experience, playing in. And it's also, we don't have to go super duper far up in Georgia. It's right there on the Georgia-Florida border, so it's not a far trip. It's a good trip. It's not a super duper far trip.
Well, I'm excited about the beginning of the schedule for sure. Obviously, couple one circled for me personally. The Southeast is the Manatee rival. Palmetto came on later. Obviously, Palmetto's a big game, and we want to win. But one that's very interesting to me is Riverview beat us, kicked us out of the playoffs last year. It'd be nice to play them and get back at them, but all around schedule, I think you did a phenomenal job, and really be able to test this in the beginning to see where we're at towards the end. Let's talk a little bit about the district. New district. We're in Class 5A. They reclassified. Seems like FHSA doesn't really know what they want to do with classifications. It seems like it's changing every couple of years. But we are now in 5A, and they got rid of the suburban and urban four classes and that sort of thing. So we're in 5A, like I said, with Pinellas Park and Braden River. We're familiar with Braden River. Give us a little indication on Pinellas Park. Have you watched any film on them as a newcomer to our district? Really haven't seen them much.
I haven't seen much film on Pinellas Park, but they've been one of the more consistent teams over in the St. Pete area the last few years. We played them in the playoffs, maybe 19 or 20. We played them in the playoffs. They had a pretty good team. One of their alumni, one of their running backs, just finished up at Florida State to a Philly. Oh, he may still be there. So they got good talent come from there. So they've been one of the teams that's in St. Pete that's produced some good college kids and had some kids to go to college. So in years past, they ran their wing tee offense, and they've been pretty solid on defense. So if a team runs a wing tee, they have a physical mindset. So it'd be a good test for us to play a team like that.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you giving us some time. As you know, you're right here in the middle of fall camp and getting ready for school to start. And next week is our Kickoff Classic versus Hillsborough, another long-time traditional school in the Hillsborough area, of course. And be excited to get them down and play them. Haven't played them in a long, long time. Want to encourage all of our listeners out there. Season tickets are now on sale, mantefootball.com, for all of your information on when we play, our schedule, the roster, how to get to highlights. We've got our Manatee Football YouTube page. You've got Facebook, Manatee Football, as well as the Manatee High School Facebook page on any announcements and things going on. But next week, Kickoff Classic here at home, Hillsborough High School, 7:30, Joe Kinane Field at Hawkins Stadium. Look forward to seeing you there. Coach, we'll catch you next week. Good luck first week of school. And as always, go Canes, go.